We are just 2 hours away from the government's August employment report. And ahead of that number, let's get a preview of the data with Katie George. She's a senior partner at McKinsey & Company. Also, Julia Pollack, who is chief economist at ZipRecruiter. And Julia, why don't we start with you? Because I think there's a pretty wide estimate of what people are anticipating this time around. We just don't know. We know the picture's been looking better, but we know COVID was on the rise during that period. What are you expecting to see?
So COVID cases rose more than fourfold between July and August. It's a very significant surge. And yet we did not see people pull back the same way they did in 2020 during COVID surges then. Instead, people are defying Delta and they are moving ahead with plans to go back to normal. Jobless claims released yesterday showed no big spike in layoffs. In fact, they continue to come down. And we're seeing no slowdown in new hiring either.
No slowing in new hiring and people kind of going back to their lives as normal. But it does seem like they're focusing on normal when it comes to things like weddings that maybe got postponed, going back to school, maybe getting back out, going to concerts and doing things. Are they all wanting to go back to work, too?
Well, so that is the big question that this report will answer. And we have seen some increase in labor force participation recently, particularly among workers aged 25 to 35, 35 to 45, those sort of core adult workers. And we hope to see that continue tomorrow. But with schools reopening, the vast majority of American schools have reopened for in-person instruction. And with people able to send their kids to school, it's quite likely to see them come back to work.
Katie, if the number's weak, it's not because employers aren't on the hunt, right?
Oh, that's absolutely true. We are really seeing a new war for talent. Employers are working very hard to attract new workforce additions and really changing the way they think about their employee value propositions.
What does that mean? They really have to pay up, offer more benefits, compete with other companies to get that same group of workers?
All of that, but what we see is the front runners are really playing a long game. And what I mean by that is really investing in workforce training and skill development.
And long term, meaning that these are employees, they don't want to have turnover. They want to make sure that they are hiring and keeping these people around for years to come.
Exactly. I think we're seeing more and more a sense that the kind of attrition we've seen right now is really unhealthy, and that people are trying to create jobs that are jobs today, but careers for the long term.
So it's creating a problem for employers right now. I mean, you hear statistics, something like 70% of people want a new job this year, and employers are worried because that's actually having an impact right now.
Absolutely, because, obviously losing employees who are loyal and who have the skills that are required means that there's a lot of work to be done to attract new talent and to upskill it. Again, we're seeing that what companies are recognizing is that not only do they need to attract the right talent, but they need to continue to invest in skill development, as all of these companies, in part accelerated by COVID, have been accelerating their investments in digital and advanced analytics and other new technologies that require a very different skilled workforce.
Hey, Julia, you brought up an important point, just the idea that schools are reopening and people will be able to go back to work once their kids don't have to be watched every moment of the day. I don't know that will be reflected in these numbers, though, right? Because I think during the week that the survey was taken, it was before the vast majority of schools reopened, right?
That's true, but many of the schools already conducted hiring. So we should see a large number of new hires in education as schools brought back school bus drivers and janitors and dining room staff and all of those people who support that effort. I think, the big story here, though, is what people did in response to this COVID surge in August. And the big change was that we saw vaccination rates rise dramatically. So they fell between April and July from about 3 million to 500,000. And over the course of April, they've gone back up to more than 900,000. So people are responding to this COVID surge not by canceling all their plans, not by staying at home, not by cutting short their job search, but by getting vaccinated and by masking up.